This is THAMNOPHIS PULCHRILATUs. This is an adult female, full grown. So this is one of the many unique highland species of garter snakes from Mexico, which can also live very far from water. I already showed two. I showed you scaliger and I showed you scalaris. Well, this is another one. It's also a relatively small species. This female is maybe 60 centimeters big. In the wild it will feed on amphibians, but probably also on lizards. Actually, not so much is known about this species. The babies are quite difficult to get started because they have a tendency only to eat amphibians, which is difficult. So, but once they're bigger, they can be easily kept with baby mice and with fish, no problem. So it's only when you have small babies that it's difficult to get them started. Also, this one occurs at very high altitude. This one comes from 3,300 meters high. Even this one I don't give a true hibernation, only very short days in the winter. So I only have 8 hours of light where they can reach the 30 degrees, and then at night it can drop to 10 or 15 or even lower. What you see then with this one is that you really don't see them for a couple of months. So they just hide in the coolest spot in the terrarium, but I just give them access to a warmer spot if needed. So a beautiful and extremely rare species. But luckily I have been successful in breeding them, and a German friend of mine also. So maybe in the future more will become available for the hobby. So this is another very beautiful and very rare Mexican highland species. It's THAMNOPHIS CHRYSOCEPHALUS, the golden-headed garter snake, and it has a very nice brown golden head, while the rest of the body is quite dark or grey, and it only has two lateral stripes. This species is known also from high altitudes, only in a small area in Puebla and Veracruz. This year I managed to breed them for the first time, which made me very happy because I only had one adult couple that I got as babies 2 years ago. So while the breeding group in captivity is very small, so this year I'm going to give 2 pairs away to friends of mine who I know very well, to make sure that we can continue to breed them and to spread the risk. This one will feed in the wild mostly amphibians, probably also fish. It is quite aquatic. It lives close to the water, although in some areas it also lives in tropical rainforest, or not really tropical, but in the Mexican highlands, where it will hunt for salamanders and frogs. There are some frog species in Mexico that live that don't need water, that are life bearers. So wherever those frogs are, and those are very small frogs, you can also find all those rare species of garter snakes far away from the water.
So what is it doing with the tail now? The tail is moving. Is it because it's stressed?
Yeah, probably stressed. So just getting attention from, hey, you don't see my head. This is where you have to. This is where you have to bite.
This is what you need to pay attention on.
Yeah.
The most interesting is bite. Okay, and what about adults? I mean, about the size?
They're also quite small. So adult size is 60-70 centimeters. So they don't. They're bigger than, let's say, than scaliger and scalaris, but also a relatively small species.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah. Alright, so this is another very unique species, THAMNOPHIS SUMICHRASTI. Another Mexican highland species, extremely rare. I'm hoping to start breeding them. This is one of my captive bred males of 1 year old. So it's sub-adult, it's not fully grown yet. A very nice anecdote of this species that occurs in two forms. So here you have the form with the big blotches, but you also have a form with only very small spots. And it was not until Roger Conant caught a pregnant female in the wild that gave birth to spotted and blotched babies that they recognized that these were two of the same species but very different morphs occurring in the wild. So my male is with the big blotches and my females are with the small blotches. So far I've not been able to breed them successfully. Well, of course I had this one baby, but the rest of the litter mate was born very weak and died. That was also when I realized that these had been feeding only on smelt. That I felt that that was probably one of the reasons why I had a very poor litter. So now I had to wait until this male was big enough for breeding size. Last fall it was not the case, but I hope this fall it will be big enough to mate and that I have a healthy litter. Because I really needed to be able to set up a good breeding colony. Because 1.2 of such a unique species is way too, well, very dangerous. If one dies, you cannot continue breeding anymore.
Are you the only one to have such snakes in Europe, or are all the breeders?
No, I'm the only one in the world.
In the world? Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Unless somebody in Mexico keeps them. But
yeah,
they're ultra rare, and in Mexico there's not a lot of interest to keep garter snakes, so that's a little bit a pity. They have beautiful species, but not many people are interested in garter snakes.
And so where do they live in Mexico?
They live in the highlands, in Veracruz, so let's say central Mexico.
So on the Transvolcanic belt too?
Yeah, okay. yeah, but then more on the, let's say on the east side. So where you have the Mexican highlands and then it drops off to the ocean, and there you have an area where a lot of humid air is pushed upwards, so it's a sort of a rainforest, and these are really tied to the rainforests of Mexico.
And once more, that snake is very calm, very quiet.
It's very calm, very quiet.
Nice to handle.
Very nice to handle.
Not aggressive. And
absolutely.
Not defensive.
No,
and so, well, let's be honest, I don't think this is possible for people while watching this video to get a snake like this.
No.
Not for the moment, but perhaps in the future.
In the future, yes, when I'm lucky and all I need is one good litter, and then I have good snakes to continue. So, and until that, yeah, it's just a breeding project for the future.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice, thank you.